the AB Crochet Series, and this video is part 2 of the crossed ripple stitch. If you have missed part 1 of this stitch, I'm going to put a link down in the description box and on the top right of this video. You will also find a link to the AB Crochet Series for all the tutorials that we have discussed over the past few weeks. In this tutorial, we're going to be discussing the diagram for the crossed ripple stitch. So we're going to draw it and learn how to read it together. Let's get started. Now, if you recall, in part 1, we started with a number of foundation chains that is a multiple of 3. In part 1, we started with 18 stitches. For the purpose of the diagram or this tutorial, I'm gonna be starting with 9 stitches. So let's start drawing 9 chains. So as we have agreed before, the chain looks like this. This is the symbol of a chain. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then number 9, the 9th stitch, is going to be drawn as so, because this is the turning chain for row 1. Okay, now for row 1, we're going to be working a single crochet into each stitch. So we skipped the first stitch, this one, and then we started working a single crochet into each of the stitches. Now the symbol of a single crochet, as we have agreed before, is the cross sign. So this is a single crochet. So on top of each of these 8 stitches, I'm gonna draw a cross. And I'm gonna write 1 for row 1 right here. Okay, now for row 2, it's gonna start from the left side. We're gonna write 2, and then to start the second row, what we did was drawing a stretched chain. So we're gonna draw a chain a little bit stretched because it's stretched to the height of a double crochet stitch. And then on top of the first stitch right here, we did a double crochet. Now the symbol of a double crochet is a letter T with this small line. This is a double crochet. So I'm gonna draw this symbol on top of the first single crochet right here. So here is my first stitch. Next, what we did was we skipped 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and then we started working into the 3rd stitch. So what we did here was a double crochet. So we're gonna draw it this way. We're working into the 3rd single crochet. So we have the line stretched all the way to the single crochet we're working into. But then again, it is the 2nd stitch in my current row, so it has to be stretched all the way to this single crochet right here. Then what we did was a chain. So here is my chain on top of this single crochet right here, and then we went all the way back to the first of these 2 skipped stitches and we did a double crochet. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did here, but on the opposite side. So here is my my double crochet, worked in the first of the 2 skipped stitches, and this is where the position of it is. Okay, next we did the same thing again. So we skipped 2 stitches, and this is the repeat of the pattern. We skipped 2 stitches, we worked a double crochet into the 3rd, so we're gonna draw a line all the way, and then a chain on top of this middle stitch, and then in the first of the 2 skipped stitches we did a double crochet. Of course, when you see a diagram generated by a computer, it's cleaner and neater than what I'm doing, but I'm just explaining the idea of it. Okay, and we keep repeating that section, these three stitches until we finish the row, and at the end of the row we're going to have 1 stitch, and this is where we're going to do our last double crochet for this row. So we started with a double crochet, skipped 2 stitches, did a double crochet into the third, and then we chained 1, and then we went back to the first of the 2 skipped stitches, and we did a double crochet into the first of these 2, and we repeated that for the next set, and then we keep repeating this until we finish our row, depending on how many sets of 3 that you have. And then at the end you'll have 1 extra stitch. This is where we're gonna do the double crochet. Okay, and then for row 3 and all the odd number rows, we're gonna do a row of single crochet. So we're gonna chain 1. This is a regular chain. This is number 3. And on top of each stitch, including the chain, we're gonna do a single crochet. So single crochet, single crochet, and now we have a chain 1. We're gonna do a single crochet. So we're gonna go into the space and do a single crochet. Then 1 more stitch, 1 more stitch into the space, 1 more stitch, and then we reach the end of our row and we do the last stitch. Now row 4 is gonna be different depending on which variation that you are gonna be doing for the rippled for the crossed ripple stitch. In part 1 we discussed that this stitch has 2 variations. One is textured and the other is not. So we're gonna be drawing both. I'm gonna start with the first variation, which is the textured variation. So again, a stretched chain to start my row, and then on top of the first stitch right here, I'm gonna do a regular single crochet. Okay, next we're gonna skip 2 stitches and work into the third, and for this stitch we're working a regular double crochet. So we're gonna stretch a line right here for the double crochet, then we chained 1. Now for the next stitch we're gonna do a front post double crochet. So we discussed the front post double crochet before. We said that for the front post double, it looks like a double crochet, so it's a letter T with that small line, and then we have half a circle at the bottom. This is the front post double crochet. So this is what we're gonna be drawing right here, but this half circle will go around this double crochet of row 2. Let's see how we're gonna do it. So we're gonna start our line right here on top of the stitch and go all the way around down to row 2, and then draw our circle right here. We're gonna repeat it again for the next set of 3. So let's do the next set. We're gonna skip 2 stitches, draw our double crochet on top of the third, chain 1, and then for the third stitch we're gonna draw a front post double. The front post double is gonna go down 2 rows. So here is the first row, the second row, and it will be done around this post right here. So I'm gonna draw a line going all the way down to row 2, and then draw the half circle, and then finish my double crochet. Okay, and then we're gonna repeat these 3 stitches until we reach the end where we have 1 stitch remaining, and we're gonna do a double crochet. Next, we're gonna do a row of single crochet. So row number 5 is gonna start with a regular chain and then a single crochet on top of each stitch and into the chain 1 space. Okay, now this is variation 1. In variation 2, what we did was, instead of working a front post double crochet, we worked a double crochet. So I'm gonna keep this as is so we can see the difference later on, and I'm gonna start row 6 as if we're doing variation number 2. So stretched chain to start. Here it is. This is row 6, and then we're gonna start with a double crochet, skip 2 stitches, stretch a line right here for the double crochet, chain 1, and now we're gonna do a double crochet, but it's not worked into this stitch. Now we're gonna go down 1 row below it, so we're working 2 rows below, same thing as here. But instead of working around this post for variation 1, we're gonna put our stitch right here in that space between this double crochet and this double crochet. So I'm gonna stretch a line from that space here all the way up and finish my double crochet. So in variation 1, our stitch was worked around this post. In variation 2, the double crochet is worked between the 2 posts. Let's do it one more time. Skip 2 stitches, and then into the 3rd, we're gonna stretch a line for a double crochet. And then chain 1, and then we're gonna draw a double crochet between these 2 stitches in that space. So stretch a line right here all the way up for a double crochet. And we're gonna repeat these 3 stitches here until we finish the row, and then we have 1 stitch remaining where we are doing our last double crochet stitch. And then for row 7, we're gonna repeat the single crochet stitch. So variation 1 is this one. I'm gonna go with green here and write. This is variation 1, number 1, and this is variation number 2. Okay, so if you want a textured crossed ripple stitch, then this is the pattern that you are going to follow. If you want it flat with the 2 faces of your work, or the 2 sides of your work are mirror image, then this is the row that you are going to be repeating. All right, so I hope that makes sense. I hope that now you can read the pattern, and that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope you are enjoying this AB crochet series. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, share the video with your friends, and until next time, take care and keep crocheting.